All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are once again getting healthy by smoking on that Phillies back, boys. Woo! That's all it took. I told you guys, don't worry. Those guys with the red hats are coming up here, and we're going to do what we did to them last year. Kick the shit out of them, send them home, and get the season going again. We got off to that hot start last year because we won like 18 of 20 games in the Phillies in April. So that's all we needed. That was 101. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, fellas.
I mean, if we could play every single game against the Philadelphia Phillies, I'd be a happy man. Those guys stink. They flat out stink. And if they're good, they stink when they play us. When they stink, they stink. It's just I was waiting for, like, you know, I just felt like the universe needed to correct itself after last season. So I was like, we beat them like you said, 18 of 24 or whatever the fuck it was. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop and for that to just flip. It didn't. It hasn't. They stink. Sorry.
The shoe just keeps kicking him in the ass. And it's pretty fucking nice to be on this side of the equation, right? Because the Phillies used to do this to us back once everything flipped in 90. We're not even going to say the Euro time. We're not even going to say that.
Yeah.
Also, fuck those announcers for crying about Lindor taking too much time throwing the first. God forbid, like, how many bad flips did we watch Ryan Howard do back in the day, or Chase Utley? Like, go fuck yourself. Like, fuck
Chase
Ben
Utley
Davis.
killed a guy.
Yeah, like, for real.
They suddenly did almost fucking man. The Rubens are hot at theatrics in hindsight were just fucking unbelievable. It was bad. He did get really hurt, but reacted like it was a literal homicide. It was unbelievable.
Oh, well, there was a homicide today in Queens. Happened at Citi Field. Once again, Max Scherzer goes out, puts his dick on the table, sweeps the Phillies out of Queens. I'm gonna tell you, boys, this is the first time we faced the Phillies all year, right?
Yeah.
What happened to the team that like scared the shit out of me in October last year? Because this is not that team at all. Well, and I know the pitching's struggling, but the lineup even.
That was the outlier, you know. Like we saw them all year. That's why the playoffs last year made no goddamn sense. Because I was like, this team that we beat the ever living shit out of is now like rolling through the NL. Made no sense. And I think this is more what they are. I mean, it's very strange because I was actually listening to the final innings, and Howie said it like, you know, throw out their stats. The names Castellanos, Harper, Schwarber, all those names still scare you. But at some point, you know, when Schwarber's batting $180, it doesn't matter that he's Kyle Schwarber and that he can hit it to the moon if he's playing that poorly. So I think sometimes like the Phillies name and quote unquote rivalry and some of the names they have in their lineup makes you feel like you're facing this big bad team. And I don't know if that's really the case. I mean, they lost how many games? I saw the stat. They were one of 5 teams to lose 75 or more games and make the World Series. Like they weren't that good of a team. So, you know, they probably should be. I think they're underachieving. But at what point do you just say, I don't think this collection of guys is really as good as it appears to be on paper?
And what did the city of Philly do to Mark Canha? Because he fucking hates those guys. I tweeted out he's had 4 home runs against the Phillies that have either tied the game or taken the lead for the Mets. Anytime he makes contact with the ball, like 2 of those wins are just him because nobody else is hitting the ball.
Mark Canha loves brotherly love too, so I don't understand what's going on here. We love Mark Canha. We love Mark Canha.
Yeah, whoop ass on those motherfuckers. Man, this is kind of what we said we needed though, right? Like, okay, obviously, whatever you want to say, there was some migraines, there was blisters, there was the weird suspension, that little bump in the road. I think you can, my concern was, what if that's the norm and not the outlier? I think Max is back. He really only had those 2 bad starts. Ever since then, he's been good. And we said we needed like those guys from last year to start hitting. And when Mark Canha does, and he joins the party, here you fucking go. So, we were still waiting on Marte, but it's just, again, it's why you don't cancel too early. It's why you don't bail too early, because we're just at June 1st. And now all of a sudden you're starting to see what could be. Whether or not we can, put it together and string it together for multiple wins and multiple series remains to be seen. But I was getting nervous that we were just going to be flat out bad. And now guys are coming out of their slumps or their injuries or, whatever it may be. So, thank God for that.
The New York Mets are 16-0 when their starter goes 6 or more innings. What a coincidence!
16-0 now. I mean, that's not a fluke. That's not. You want that number to be higher. You want that. You want it to be more than 16 starts. But that's the fucking formula, boys. It's easy peasy.
How we feeling, Philip?
I'm feeling good. I watched that game with Frank. It was pretty pleasant. Each time the Phillies got a base runner, which is very few, I just asked him about some random player. He talked to me about Dave Kingman because Gary brought him up last night. So it's pretty pleasant.
Phil has
Dude,
now.
There's this. Maybe. Let me think about this. Maybe Frank and the Mets. Maybe Frank is the Mets. Wait a minute. Maybe Frank is the Mets, like Finkel and Einhorn, because there's this side of Frank that we all love. The same way there's this Mets team that we all love. Most often, they're driving us fucking crazy. And then when you get the good version of them, you got to cherish it and enjoy it while you can because it's fleeting. And it just comes and goes quickly. And there's not many seasons and there's not many moments where Frank and the Mets are enjoyable. So maybe Frank has just been dedicated to this club for so long, he's actually taken on them as a personality, which, oh my God. If somebody ever told me that my personality is like the Mets, I would kill myself. That is like the last thing I ever want to hear. But maybe Frank is that, because when you're watching a ball game with regular Frank Fleming, it's kind of cool. It's like you're watching with like a fucking historian and like an encyclopedia. It's just that you're also gonna blow out your eardrums and have to watch a grown man chew on a fucking.
And to be fair, after the first inning, the Phillies had like 2 base runners the rest of the way. Like it was.
Yeah.
I was recording and then I looked up and I saw it was 2-0. I'm like, oh God, what's going on right now? So I was thinking about my boy Phil. I'm like, I hope Phil's all right. Phil has already, like, that savvy stuff though. You've learned your surroundings. You've now known like the triggers, right? We've learned the trigger words and the trigger phrases, and we now know how to settle them down. Shout out to my guy Phil. My guy Phil yesterday, you were my opener. I said, I'm not watching the first inning of Cookie starting. I said, Phil, let me know how we're doing. You said it's done, and you gave him a single stuffed Oreo, which I'm guessing maybe he gave up like a base hit or so. That's
it was a single to Harper. I'm back to office Wi-Fi. It's not great.
Yep. But I'm feeling pretty fucking good right now. So
even Frank gave him a Halloween edition Oreo for his cookie rating in the game. I was like, all right, Frank. He actually looked like he enjoyed himself the whole way through. Although I'm sure the 9th inning last night, he was definitely screaming at the top of his lungs about blowing it.
Yeah. And even today, the bullpen's been used up a few times. I'm like, all right, we got to get from point A to point B, and there is a whole lot of twists and turns potentially. And I mean, it was almost as smooth as it can go. And again, you see a guy like Schwarber up here, like, oh, he's going to shove it so far up our ass right now, right? And then they have, I don't know if you guys are like me, sick Met fan mind. That kid comes up, he's hitting bombs in the minors, and I'm like, could this be their Nick Plummer? And this is going to be the thing that turns them around. We are hostages to this team, and this team being the Frank Fleming of our lives that we can love and fucking hate at the same time is kind of fucking scarily point on, Kev. I don't want to admit that because I don't want to be a Mets fan because of that, but I'm a Frank fan, and it hurts. It fucking hurts. The best part about it is, though, boys, this thing has started, this post-game recap. We started a little while ago. It's not even 4:00. That means we can go out, have ourselves some nice Coors Lights, go to the bar. You can hit happy hour. How great is this fucking sport? Rob Manfred for the Hall of Fame, I say.
Day game wins. Day games in general. Even if you lose, I by 6:00, I'm like, I'm getting over it and I can enjoy the night. A day game win, crack open a Coors Light, enjoy some Blue Mountains, watch a movie, watch a series, whatever you want. Nothing, and then a day game sweep day. Oh my God, That is as beautiful as it gets, boys.
Blue mountains everywhere. Blue mountains everywhere. So sometimes when the days get so crazy, you can forget to make time for fun. And when that happens, you got to choose to chill. Rewatch the game from today at night if you want to, or you go out to happy hour, you have a little party. I may hit up Spider-Man tonight. So beforehand, have myself some Coors Lights, go to the movie, have yourself some film. So pair your plans with an ice cold Coors Light, the beer that's keeping New York chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Julesy or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. We talked about today, but I got to touch on the first game of the series because our boy Senga. Oh, is that ghost forking right now, boys?
Dude, that fork. Ghost fork yourself, Philadelphia. When that ghost fork is cooking, he is dangerous, man. I mean, what was the number? Gary said it multiple times. It was like 20 swings and misses or something like that, or 18 out of 24 or whatever swings and misses. That pitch is, when it's on, it's unfucking hittable.
So I saw this was from Mike Mayer, his ghost fork stats. The ghost fork this year, 107 average against 8th in baseball, 125 slugging, 2nd in baseball, 59.1% whiff percentage, best in baseball for any pitch, 11.8 hard hit percentage, 2nd in baseball, and 175 XWOBA, baby. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't even know if Phil knows what that means, but that's tied for 2nd in baseball. Phil, what does XWOBA mean? Do you know all 5 of those
Expected weighted on base average. So yeah,
What the fuck?
you just call it XWOBA.
It's one of those situations where, like, when you're watching sports with someone who doesn't watch sports, or like your girlfriend or something, they're like, just do that every time. Why don't they just like score every time? I'm like, just throw the ghost fork every pitch. Just do it every time, man. They can't hit it.
Build the whole plane out of the black box. I still don't know why that wouldn't work. I still am not 100% convinced. As long as you can somehow take off.
Makes perfect sense.
I mean, Mariano had one pitch and everybody knew what was coming. So if it gets to that point,
Do you guys, I thought about that the other day. Very in a similar way of the NBA, where everyone's starting to realize that, the 90s that we all loved was a bunch of fucking plumbers and out of shape bums and stuff. Do you think that's as true in baseball? Like, do you think you could get away? Literally, Mariano had one pitch and like he dominated. Do you think that would happen today still?
I think that would happen at any point in the sport because, like, for whatever reason, it was just running on their hands to a point that they knew what it was going to do and they just couldn't adjust. Yeah.
But you don't think by now there'd be some adjustment? Like they would figure it out, or it just no matter how you adjusted, it still just ran in on your hands. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like the nerds, the analytics guys aren't going to be able to do anything with the numbers and stuff, right? To figure out how to hit the cutter. And the old school baseball guys probably thought of everything in the book, what they could do to fucking slay that beast. And it never got slayed, right? It's like anytime it got slayed, it was like a fucking moment in baseball history that we all know. Luis Gonzalez, Sandy Alomar.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Like you can count, like, you remember the times Mariano got beat. I will say, there's a little more of them than people might,
Yeah, that's true. The 2004 Red Sox just were fucking getting courtside tickets to Celtics games because of it, right? I feel, and I could be wrong, I feel like this happens sometimes with like athletes. I know the Secretariat, the horse, he had like these super large heart. Like I feel like Mariano's fingers were comically large and he was able to throw it because of that. So I don't know, whatever it is, also, I don't know if anyone would have ever hit that shit.
Known murderer. Just want to put that out there. Electrocuted a guy to death. His own family member. Just wanted to put that.
The hate runs deep in his heart. Mets sweep the Phillies, and he's still bringing up the murder. I appreciate that. Rico's somewhere just like a caged dog right now. He hears that and starts going crazy about it. Like you said, though, Marte starts hitting. Canna starts, like, they're both in the 240s right now. I feel like that's kind of a win considering the way it started. So if they're going to start hitting, Lindor's going to do his thing. Pete's obviously been doing his thing as much as he can. Boys, we're fucking back. We're back. I'm going to say it. We're back. I don't even give a fuck about the Blue Jays coming up next. We're back. And I'll worry about everyone else.
Totally. No, I absolutely think we're back. I don't know about the Century Club back, but, if you have Max is fully back, I still have faith in Verlander, although, it hasn't he's not fully back. I think he'll get there. And then if Senga is, figuring it out, you're back to having 3 guys. We started this year with like maybe we have like 4 pitchers, 5 pitchers. Oh, wait a minute, we have 0 pitchers. Okay, now we've got 1. Now we've got 2. All right, now we got 3. It's been a fucking wild ride. But if that starting pitching, 16 out, so if that starting pitching can get there, then I think everything else, and the kids, the babies are playing still. Vientos with a big insurance run. Dude, how about that stat? Alvarez with 8 homers. Only like one other Mets rookie catcher has ever had more than that.
Really? I didn't even see that.
It was Jason Phillips had like 11 home runs, and somebody else had like 30. And
did Todd Hundley have that? Guy, did Hundley have that?
I guess not his rookie year. Maybe that was the thing.
Hundley might have been on steroids, so he might not have been using him his rookie year. Let's see. No, he most certainly did not. 0, 1, 7, 11, 15, 41, 30. So, yeah, Todd Hundley right in the heart of the 90s is when his home run totals went up. Very interesting how that all worked out.
Todd Hundley was such a perfect – everybody talks about Brady Anderson, but Todd is a fucking juicer, baby.
Like, just look at his face. He just looks like a steroids guy. I'm sorry. I love the guy, but he definitely looks like a big steroids guy. Okay, so
I got to make a phone call real quick. You guys keep going.
Cool.
I would like to get ahead of this before anyone complains. Vogelback's numbers for the next 2 pitchers are like tremendous. So just get it through your head right now. Vientos came in, did his job today, and I was very happy to see that they pinch hit him. That was like the brand of Mets baseball that we came to love last year, where it was double, sack bunt, pinch hit, sack fly, cash the run, like beautifully done the whole way through. But just be prepared. We're probably going to see Vogelback for the next 2 days.
Yep.
Well, we'll lose the lineup battle 2 more days like we did the last 3. It's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. We still end up winning. And I see this here, a couple of guys saying it was d'Arnaud that was the other catcher there. So and to be fair, like I will never get mad at the Mets. I feel like they gave d'Arnaud as many chances as they could. And with that, especially the Wilpons era, he was just never going to work there. When it doesn't work with the Dodgers, it doesn't work with the Rays. It was never going to work with the Mets. It sucks that it worked with the Bravos down there. But speaking of Alvarez, at this point when he's at the plate, I don't know. He's like, I feel more confident than, I'd say Lindor, Pete, and Nimmo are above him. And that might be it at this point. Is that fair to say? Is there anyone else I'm missing there that's obvious? In terms of just like, I need him to get a big hit here or maybe hit a bomb or something like that. I feel like he's already like, top half of the lineup already, which is bananas for a 21-year-old catcher.
McNeil, but I don't see him like hitting a home run in that type of situation.
That's fair. Yep. McNeil is definitely on there. But
if I need a home run, it's between him and Pete. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's reached a point too where it's like in a big spot. I'm like, well, I've seen you do this a million times. As long as the bases aren't loaded, he got really fucked. That if he came up in those Brave series with 2 guys on base instead of 3. We would have won the East. I would have went to goddamn Hall & Oates, and we would have won the World Series.
He's the king of the 3-run home run and an absolute bum with the bases loaded. It's like, honestly, if Alvarez is on deck and like there's someone up at the plate and there's 2 men on, just like strike out. Just, we don't want you to get on base. We don't want the bases loaded.
It's the
3-run home run.
It's the Moneyball meme. Billy, this is Francisco Alvarez. He can't hit grand slams, but if you give him any other combination, he's going to hit a fucking huge home run as long as there's 1, 2, or no men on base.
Remember that guy who said the home run, the 3-run home run is like the worst hit in baseball?
Yeah.
Well, fuck you. Francisco Alvarez says, fuck you, man.
It's all he does is catch touchdown passes, right? With Chris Carter. Like all he does is hit 3-run home runs. That goddamn Francisco Alvarez. So so Vogelback is clearly like the lightning rod of the team. He drives everyone, and like he does like come into those situations like a 1-run game in the 7th. You're like, all right, Vogue, I know you like walked twice today. I need you to get a fucking hit, and it's a strikeout. As long as he strikes out swinging, I can live with it. It's the looking strikeouts that have completely broken me, right? It is what it is, and I feel
it's
like
actually insane knowing like the pitcher, he's coming up to the plate. They know he's not getting a hit, and they know he's not swinging. And then last night they walked him on 4 straight pitches. I'm like, how the fuck does this guy keep doing? He has a Major League Baseball career by walks. He's got a higher OPS than Marte.
You want my honest answer? It's because he's fat. It's like they still respect that he's a big boy who might bop one out of the park. Even
He's
though
the guy
it's, like,
from Rookie of the Year who's like turning into like sawdust.
Licking his chops.
Oh, God.
Uh,
So, Ty Walker today, former Met, not looking great. 4 innings pitched,
he got
3 earned.
pulled pretty early too, though. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible.
Maybe he was on like some sort of pitch count. I mean, I was surprised after only 4 too.
Yeah, that was that. I said this to the group before. One of my favorite traits of good teams is not only getting guys, good players at the right time, but letting go of guys at the right time. And between Bassett and Ty, Trevor Williams, Holderman, Lou, all these guys, it's like almost everybody to a man, they have played poorly this year. So I was like so afraid of a Ty Walker, quote unquote revenge game. I guess Wheeler is the only one that you really wish you had back.
Wheeler's the big one, and that was with Brody. So
yeah, so I was gonna say that's like old regime anyway.
That's a Wilpons thing too. Like if they weren't going to pay him, I don't think there was anything we could have done about that, right?
No,
he had been injury prone too. He had that one good season. You were like, is he real? If he would have stayed a Met, like inning and injury ending career for whatever was going to happen to him in the Mets uniform.
I mean, he was one of those things though. Like he like statistically threw harder than any starter in baseball, and like that. There's something to be said for like you gotta give that guy a chance, But whatever. That was old regime anyway. This new regime, everybody that they've let go has been the right choice. Whether or not they have backfilled that position effectively still remains to be seen. But it's not like we're like, oh my God, I wish we had Ty Walker, and today he shoved it up our asses. It looks like second half Ty is now just Ty. It's just both halves Ty.
And if he's coming out after 74 pitches, you always go like, I hope he's all right, because that was kind of the reason why we got him on the cheap. Was he always had injury problems, and then obviously the second halves, it's like, is it because he's breaking down and his body can't handle it? So that's a Philadelphia problem, not a New York problem anymore. So and all around. Also, former New York problems. We don't have to go deep into it, but man, Noah Syndergaard saying he would give up his firstborn to be the old him was some dark shit. I was like, I'm not even going to quote tweet this one, man. This is fucking sad.
Spoken like a young guy who's not married or doesn't have kids. Because once you do have kids, you don't say that kind of shit anymore. I think it's more just the theatrics and the dramatics of how bad it's gotten for him. But my mom had the worst kill shot of all. I sent that tweet to my mom, and she said, does he want to be the player he was, or does he just want his hair back? I was like, oh, Mom, I don't know which one is worse. The fact that he's not Thor anymore, that he's got that balding, receding hairline. But yeah, that is, man, baseball is so crazy. Like, you would have thought him and Harvey and even DeGrom now, like, you would think those guys are all going to make hundreds of millions and probably win titles and Cy Youngs, and then it just doesn't happen. One injury and a couple bad years and a couple, miles per hour here and there, a little bit less of a spin rate. Oh God, it's
crazy. Also, you said DeGrom. I got to shout him out. Someone hit me up on Twitter and they made a good point. It said the Rangers were going to be a good team and competing, and he looks pretty great right now. As we're trying to hover above 500, maybe Jacob deGrom knows ball, and it's like kind of no thanks to him at this point because he's always either leaving the games early or not pitching.
The Rangers lead the league in runs. That's why. It's like the key to a good offense is just have Jacob deGrom nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, exactly.
He just left his rehab assignment for the birth of his third child, so it's still like Metsy type shit where it's like you're going to go on paternity leave while you're also rehabbing the injury that they just paid you like $250 million for.
The Mets
could you imagine?
Nuts over that, bro. Absolutely crazy over paternity leave, injury, DL plus paternity leave. Like that is an unholy alliance right there that Mets fans would not be able to fucking control.
No, we would have definitely snapped by now. And he was involved in a lot of crazy like Metsy shit. Remember his like Cy Young award got lost or something, that it came broken to camp, like, and obviously all the other shit that we had to do. So
and by the way, while we're talking about like, could you imagine what Mets fans would go through? You texted yesterday about the Braves losing the first 2 in their series against the Athletics. If the Mets were on the verge of being swept by the A's, the fan base would be, having an absolute meltdown. And the Braves were just in that same spot, and nobody the same fans who said the sky is falling don't take note of those things when it's happening to Atlanta. It conveniently is only a Mets thing. It's not. And especially this year, baseball, so stupid, man. Less than a year ago, just a matter of months ago, these pretty much exact same teams with a couple different pieces here and there, but these teams could not lose a game. And now both, kind of come back down to earth and are losing to teams. The Braves are still obviously having a better season than us right now, but it's just, that's why that last season sucked so much, because it really is not a sustainable pace. They just did it for that one amount during the season they needed to, but you can't play baseball at that level, like season after season, game after game like that. So fuck baseball. That's baseball, Susan.
I mean, Frank basically say it was a series loss for us because we almost lost 2 games to the Athletics.
He said we got swept. He said it felt like a sweep.
It felt like a sweep for us, and we swept them. And the Braves lost 2 out of 3. And yesterday's game was 4-2 final. It was by no means. So yeah, this is when I have to be our fan base is just crazy. I just have to live with it. It just is what it is at this point. We're the crazy fucking lunatic family of 1,000 people that throw fireworks at each other during 4th of July barbecues. We're crazy. I love them. I hate them at the same time. Kind of like you said earlier, though, we have our own Mr. Met in the office. It is what it is. So take care of the Phillies. Also, by the way, so beautiful. Mwah, that David Robertson comes in, closes out those 2 games. Former Philly. Thanks again for that, Philadelphia. He's been everything we could ask for and more at this point. He's the fucking best. I love him so much. But now we are looking ahead to the Toronto Blue Jays, and we will be talking about the Barstool Sportsbook look ahead right there. That's right. We got the Barstool Sportsbook app. It's not only baseball season, it's final season right now. We got the NBA finals going on, NHL finals going on. Not going to lie to you boys. Might have bet the Heat in a few games. Didn't feel right about it, but I said – I've seen this team up close, and all they do is just pass the ball until someone has a wide open 3. And I was like, Eric Spoelstra is 1,000 times better of a coach than Joe Mazzulla, even though he hasn't watched the town nearly as much. So I thought it was a layup, and I might have won money on the Heat. Felt dirty about it, but I think we were both losing no matter what, whether the Heat or Celtics made it, right, Kev?
Dude, Eric Spoelstra, I think I saw his stat, has been to the finals with the Heat, missing the playoffs with them. It's it's insane. He's been there for 13 years, and he's gone to the final 6 times. It's him and Pat Riley together. I posted this on my Instagram. Clem, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. For the old heads, when Pat Riley left the Knicks, he was completely vilified. Everybody hated him. He came back to the Garden. They booed the shit out of him. He did the infamous "Bring It On." His fax that he sent, quitting the team was I asked for full control as a head coach, and I want, control of the team, and they're not giving it to me, so I'm out. And everybody was like, fuck you. Now, having seen what happened with the Knicks in these last 20, 30 years, seeing what's happened with Knicks ownership and management these last 20, 30 years, and seeing what's happened with Riley, they should have given him every fucking thing he wanted. And they should have just, if the Heat got, the Heat were absolutely tampering and got caught doing so.
Yep.
But good for them, because they got Pat Riley, who is basketball royalty. And when you find a guy who's like Greg Popovich or an Ainge, or in this case, Pat Riley,
he's a Belichick, is what he is.
That is. So you need that guy. Look what he's done. He did it with Wade and then Shaq and then LeBron. Now he's doing it again with no names. He is that dude, and there's no doubt by now if Riley stuck around. And I mean, he got so much shit, but now I'm Team Riley, man. The Knicks don't get the benefit of the doubt on anything, man.
Yo, yeah, even when he did it, I was that's I was fucking 13 when he did it, and I'm yeah, I think I'd rather live in Florida. His buddy bought the fucking team. Yep. Blood in the Garden is the name of the book that came out. They do a really good job going behind the scenes and all the shit he had to start dealing with once Cablevision took over, and like all the corporate bullshit you're doing for expenses and just like a bunch of stupid shit. And he probably was like, oh, this bozo James Dolan, Charles Dolan's son, might take over down the road. He's like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm going to go work with my friend who's going to give me a ton of money, like ownership and all this other stuff.
In Miami, in South Beach.
And he's like, he got to be the cook in the kitchen, right? He just got to take it all over. And I'll just read this real quick. I saw Rico tweet it the other day. Since 95-96, the Heat are tied with the Bulls for the most championships during that time. 3, or not, this is in the East. 7 finals. Cavs are next with 5. Eastern Conference Finals, they have 10. Celtics are next with 9. Playoff wins 159 to 135 Celtics. Regular season wins 1270 to 1198. So Pat Riley is literally, if he had stayed in New York, he would have won multiple championships. I think we can agree on that, right? And instead, he just did the exact same thing in Miami, which is very Knicks. Little orange and blue brothers in arms right there for you guys. But like I said, Barstool Sportsbook, check it out. Right now, we got some basketball bets on there. So we got Marty's GPS. We got Spittin' Chicklets talking Stanley Cup right now. So whatever you want to bet, those are my favorite thing is betting with the boys here at Barstool. Vegas Knights to win the Stanley Cup in 5 games. We got Chicklets going plus 575. They boosted that up. And we got the hit parade with our boys, Carl, Big Ev, and Rico. Yoshida, Abreu, Alex Bregman all get a hit today from 185 to 235. So check out the Barstool Sportsbook today. The Barstool Sportsbook is now offering a $1,000 bonus for new players. If your first bet loses, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So download and create an account today. Use code BELIEVE to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Be sure to use code BELIEVE to unlock your $1,000 bonus. Terms apply. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Phil. How are the Toronto Blue Jays doing right now, my friend? Because I know not a fucking thing about them. Vladdy Jr.
I'm pretty sure they just won the series versus Milwaukee, but Milwaukee also isn't good when teams aren't staying at a hotel that's haunted. So
yeah, true.
Chris Bassett's actually been like pretty locked down for them. So, but I think we miss Alec Manoah. He's awful. I don't even know who we face Saturday, but Berrios is awful. Kikuchi, I think, is Sunday. He's awful. Bassett's a big one tomorrow. We have Verlander lined up for that.
And you said, I thought Bassett, at least in the early going, was getting rocked around.
In the early going, he was getting rocked, and then he rips off a 27 inning scoreless streak, which just makes no sense. He should have the Braves.
No ill will towards him at all. Like Mets fans were so fucking vile towards him at the end, when he was like carrying that team to the playoff. So good for him,
And Bassett said on someone else's show that players want the Mets to be good because he wants the teams that actually like spend money to try to win. That's good for them. Yep. And I hope he puts his money where his mouth is and just throw some cookies out there tomorrow.
Wouldn't hate that at all. And 3-year, $63 million deal, which I think was like, if I remember correctly, was a lot less than we were expecting him to get in terms of years.
Oh, yeah.
I think he remember being like, Bassett's going to get like 140. So
yeah.
And then it was like 60. I'm like, what the fuck?
I would have taken him back for that, but
the second I saw that contract, I was like, oh, did we really have to go sign fucking what's his face who isn't even here yet?
That's what I mean. They signed Quintana to eat innings for this team, and then lo and behold, we're not seeing him until second half probably.
It's gonna be fresh, baby.
Blue Jays do have the same record as us right now, though.
Yeah.
So they're lower in the division, but they're playing in the AL East, so it's
that's what I was saying about
similar boat.
That's what I was saying about this June schedule. It's like, oh, it looks daunting, but it's like these teams are all kind of just like us, where they're hovering around 500. They haven't clicked yet. The only ones that are facing are kind of scary is the Braves next week. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm like looking at the standings right now. I'm first seeing the 40-18 Rays, and took 2 out of 3 against them. So not going to worry about that. It's nice to be home this series. Obviously, going to Atlanta is going to suck. I hate that fucking chop house out there in the outfield. So like you said, Phil, Verlander bats it tomorrow, which is kind of cool because even though Verlander didn't replace Bassett, it was more so to replace Jake. It is kind of like old guy, new guy. Miguel Berrios. Bring your gloves in the outfield if you're going to the game that day because there will probably be a few home runs hit. And then Senga Kikuchi, which that's a cool name, I guess.
If they let Senga start on Sunday, which I think they should just because it's regular rest and it's at home, and he's much better at home.
That's a big Japanese matchup here too. We got a
exactly
Japanese showdown taking place 140 in Queens, so that could be fun.
Extreme Elimination Challenge, Japanese showdown. Let's go.
Let's fucking go. And then I don't know, like how all like I kind of love how the Blue Jays had like a strategy of just drafting kids of all players. Is Vladdy still MVP candidate, Vladdy, or is he?
He's all right. All the players are like just fine. It's really Like no one's having a career year.
Yeah. I know. Like Boba Fett has like the coolest name. He's basically a Star Wars character. What's his name even on the club anymore?
Biggio. Yeah. Blue Jays fans that follow absolutely hate him, so I think he's been up and down for them.
181 average right now. Yeah, I don't even know if he's even getting. Yeah, he played yesterday, so he's getting ABs still.
Anthony Bass, too, coming to town. The popcorn man, now he's in more hot water. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
Because of what month it is. That guy fucking stinks, huh?
Yep, he stinks. He really stinks. Oh, here's another guy that I haven't thought about in a hot minute. George Springer. The reason that Steve Cohen was another Wilpon is because he didn't break the bank for George Springer. There we go. 259, 7 home runs. Okay, he's doing all right.
And he's already been a right fielder now, so would have been the same spot.
That was the first time I ever said, "Fuck it, let's just say he's a Met, and if we get it right, we get it right, and if we're wrong, who fucking cares?" I was wrong. Nobody cares. Like everyone roasted me for a week, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I remember being like, Kev, I don't know about this one, and then you're just like, let it fly. I'm like, Steve will figure it out.
It was like you had a source, and I had a source. There was like 3 or 4 that were all saying it, but they were all wrong. So I was like,
I believe I got the old 1 yard line. I never like when people use a football analogy for another sport. It's like, come on, guys, like give me bases loaded and
Who was the first 1 yard line tweet? Was that about Melo to Houston or something in 2018? I remember that
1 yard line, and then it never happened.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was because I remember tweeting about it and being like, "This is because it impacted me." God. And I always, whenever someone tweets that, I tweet the Russell Wilson interception. It's like this. Look how easily
literally 1 yard line.
it can all go to shit real quickly.
That's a great call.
So I mean, the vibes are about as hot as they're going to get for a 30 and 27 team, right? Sweep the Phillies. Blue Jays are not daunting, but this is it, boys. We're in the
Phillies are like a cheat code because, like I said, they stink. But they still feel like a marquee win. NL East, New York Philly, it's this quote unquote rivalry, and you feel like they went to the World Series, but it's like no, these guys fucking blow. But you get this, we swept the Phillies, let's do it. So whatever, ride that wave. Who cares?
Well, I'll tell you this about the Phillies: they're only a game up on the Nationals, and they play those guys this weekend. So there's a possibility the Phillies are in last place at some point.
Jesus. They must be going berserk, right?
Oh, I love, I'm kind of like Big Cat where he listens to, Green Bay, sports radio. I love watching Philly stuff after they lose because it's just so awesome.
Those announcers talking about Lindor was coming from. That was a real place of hurt is where they were broadcasting from, which makes me love it even more. Oh, God, that's fucking great. The Phillies are basically like Go Monopoly. It's like, well, if I pass Go, I get $200. Like, just got to get there, and then it's like we're all fucking good again. Just refill the coffers. So, yeah, we got the Blue Jays coming up here, and then the Brave series coming up in Atlanta is going to be – and again, the way the rotation breaks out for that one, it's Cookie, Scherzer, Verlander. So the Cookie start may not be fun, but the 2 old horses coming up big.
I don't know. Cookie could be a fun start for all we know.
I got to give him respect. We have shit on him a lot of this, but 2 games in a row, right? 2 quality starts.
Two really good starts, 6 innings, 1 run.
Even Cookie's back to what Cookie was, where it was like sometimes he's a crumbly, burnt Toll House cookie, and sometimes he's, a beautiful chewy, gooey one. So everything, some things are kind of reverting back to the last year, which, as much as we can recapture of that, yes, please.
Yeah, 3 out of 5. That's all we need. If you get 3 guys that you can rely on enough out of the 5, I don't care who it is, just in any given week. Yeah. If Carrasco's going to suck, you need McGill to show up. If Senga's going to have control issues, you need the aces to be aces. That's all you need in the season. And that's what we had last year. And that's been the biggest difference, really, because look how different it is. We were just complaining about it for Colorado, and then we get 2 starts of 7 innings and a start of 6 innings, and now all of a sudden we're back again. It's like every single time. We have the memory of a goldfish.
Right.
And that's why this whole turnaround ever since the Rays series, it's really just been the starting pitchers are just doing their jobs.
Right.
That's all it's taking.
Yeah, that's really all it takes, man.
Kyle was saying we just need 3 pitchers, and all of us were nodding our heads. We are just so beaten down by this season. It's 3 out of 5 every fucking week. Oh my God, I'll sign up for that right now. But it really is it makes all the difference in the world. And again, the bullpen doesn't look so bad when they're just coming in at the normal time. The offense can kind of cook when they can get their spots. And you go out, you fucking sweep the Phillies, man. It's fucking dumb.
By the way, special shout out to Brooks Raley. Are we putting him in the Blue Mountain category? I mean, he's been, since he came back from injury, right? He was on the DL for a minute.
Yep.
I think. He's been pretty lights out. I know we all, everybody sucked Loopers. Loop. I always throw the on there. I know Loop was everybody's boy, lefty, shutdown. Do we have that back? Because I don't know. He's looked pretty good.
Well, let's see where we're at in a month. I don't know.
His ERA for May was 0. So that's a good start. Granted, he came back on the 14th, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 appearances, 0 earned runs, especially with the way this bullpen was going. That's a fucking and he has a bunch of holds too. So I'll fucking take it. So yeah,
I have a lot more faith in him than Brigham or when they bring in Drew Smith. Once Phil said that he was talking to the Sports Illustrated models again, I am a little soured on it every time he takes them out now, especially today.
It was five appearances in a row in a run, but today was only 1 pitch, 1 out. So good for him.
Yeah, he's my Blue Mountain boy, and I'll tell you guys, I'm kind of here we go. I'm squinting when he's coming in. Right
also, I don't know why they didn't want Brandon Marsh versus a lefty as opposed to that was a career minor leaguer versus Drew Smith. I don't know what kind of managing that was, but that's Joe Girardi-esque.
And by the way, Brandon Marsh, he's a creature. He's an absolute creature. Yeah. He's from a marsh. He looks like he just crawled out of a swamp. He looks like he's been in a homeless encampment for a year. He's greasy. His hair looks like it's a wig, dreadlocks coming out of his hat on top of his other hair. He looks like Jason Worth. If Jason Worth just stayed on the Phillies this whole time, grew out into this wild man, fucking caveman look. I hate him. I loathe him. I don't know why. He's offensive. I don't like to look at him, and I don't like him. So he's my new all my ire just goes right towards him when it comes to the Phillies.
I'm right there with you, Kev. I was offended by it. I was more offended than whatever those announcers were saying about Lindor's throw. I'm like, this guy, what the fuck are we doing? It's uncouth. That's the only word I can. It's uncouth how he shows up to the goddamn ballpark. It's a fucking.
Imagine the Yankees. Imagine if Brandon Marsh went to the Yankees. They would be like, what do we do? What do we do?
Sterling dead. Susan Waldman dead. Michael K definitely dead. Just heads exploding if that fucking guy showed up in pinstripes. Holy shit. And our boy Carwash here said it too. Did you guys see the Diaz report where he's like, I might come back if the doctors say I'm good?
I was just about to say I didn't want to put it out there, but I as we were talking about the bullpen, and I was like, some guys have stepped up and it really hasn't been a problem. What if he came back? Is there any chance of that? Is there?
He's been saying this for since the injury happened, so this isn't that new. I think he did some weird healing. It was cryogenic freezing or something. I didn't read the article enough.
I mean, wouldn't that be so sick? But the last thing you want him to do is rush it or something like that.
Oh yeah, we don't know what form he'd even be in when he comes back.
I need them to imagine him up with the stem cells like Bartolo in his elbow back in the day.
Let's go get him. Weren't they doing shit with shark?
It was illegal, whatever it was.
All the illegal shit. And let's go. Could you imagine a playoff push down the stretch, and he's back, and the fucking trumpets hit? Oh my god!
It'd be even better if they keep it under wraps the whole way through, and then the trumpets just blare.
Like wrestling.
People would lose their fucking mind. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Goes out there every day. Guys, he's we'll go see him next year. We'll see him in camp next year, and nothing else. And then bam, trumpets hit.
Yeah, they even tell SNY don't show the bullpen when he's warming up. He's going to close this game, but let the fans just be surprised.
Could you imagine fans just that as soon as that dun, 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 dun. Everybody just starts looking around. Wait, no, wait, no. Is it? Oh my God, it'd be fucking incredible.
At least Phillies fans had a better World Baseball Classic experience than us.
Yeah.
That counts.
Thank you for your service, Trey Turner. You stay.
That being said, I'm also like fucking terrified of him pitching. Like you said, if God forbid he was in the dugout yesterday and he's like jumping onto the top step. Like, Edwin, settle the fuck down, bro.
Yeah,
You're like, you should still have a brace on it or something, right? Like, what are we doing right now?
Yeah, right? Come on.
Sean just said that the Phillies broadcast said he's already throwing. I mean, is he
Maybe they're talking
like,
about his brother. I don't know.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's already thrown for Cincinnati.
But hey, I mean, this is the kind of fucking conversations we're having. Must be fucking in a good place. So this is why we say at the end of every podcast, you gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.